Maine's lobster industry has for years been at the center of a debate on the push to save the endangered North Atlantic right whale. Amid calls for the changes to gear fishermen use, organizations are hosting demos of new ropeless lobster traps in an effort to help those lobstermen adapt.
News Center Maine's Drew Peters attended one of those demonstrations to see how lobstermen are reacting to the new technology.
Constantly changing.
For 45 years, Stonington fisherman Jerry Weed has been navigating the constant shifts and changes in Maine's lobster industry.
Back when we use wooden traps, now everybody's wire traps, and there's a lot more technology involved.
And with current and potential regulations aimed at protecting the critically endangered North Atlantic right whale, he says he and other Maine lobstermen might have to make one of the biggest shifts in equipment the industry has seen in some time.
There's an area off in the Gulf of Maine that's almost 1,000 square miles where the traditional lobster fishing gear is prohibited.
To help fishermen navigate these regulations, the Maine Department of Marine Resources is working with organizations like the Maine Center for Coastal Fisheries to introduce lobstermen to a new kind of trap.
Right now, it's untested. It needs fishermen input, fishermen engagement to figure out what works and, just as importantly, what doesn't work.
Carla Gunther is a lead scientist with MCCF and says the new ropeless lobster traps can prevent whale entanglements seen in traditional rope traps.
That is all problematic up and down the whole eastern seaboard. And then there's ship strikes on top of that.
Weed says he wants to help protect the species, but he has quite a few concerns regarding the new gear.
The challenges I see is how much it's going to cost and whether or not it's actually going to work.
Peter Collins is also a lobsterman in the area and says the new technology fascinates him.
How it works or what the mechanism is that causes it to float to the surface.
Despite the potential benefits he sees from using the gear, he thinks there's a steep learning curve and a lot manufacturers need to work on to make the gear viable for fishermen.
It's really the fewer moving parts, the better, I think. Simple is best.
With their input, though, both lobstermen hope to have a say in how the industry changes moving forward.
Anything that we can do to stay fishing without putting us out of business I think it's worth it.
In Stonington, Drew Peters, News Center, Maine.
Officials with Maine Marine Resources say they do plan to host future ropeless gear demonstrations for lobstermen in other fishing communities as well.